The medical bay doors slid open with a sharp hiss, and every head inside turned at once. Two massive alien parents stepped in slowly, their movements heavy with fear. Between them, wrapped in soft cloth, was their newborn cub. It was no bigger than a house cat. Its tiny chest rose and fell in weak, uneven breaths. Dr. Mark Hale stood near a supply shelf, frozen. He didn't need a scanner to know the cub was dying. 5 of the station's best alien medics rushed forward. One by one, they ran their tests. Bright lights scanned the cub's body. Symbols and numbers filled the air. Each expert stepped back with the same look. "It's too late," one said. "Multiple organ failure," said another. "There is no treatment," said a third. The cub's mother let out a sound, so broken it cut through the room. The father wrapped an arm around her, both staring down at their child. Mark moved before he could stop himself. "Excuse me," he said gently. "I'm Dr. Mark Hale. I'm a veterinarian. May I take a look?" One of the alien medics scoffed. "A vet? This is a thinking being." "I know," Mark said, "but I've spent 30 years treating patients who couldn't tell me what hurt." The parents looked at each other. Then the mother nodded once. Mark stepped closer. The cub's skin was pale. Its breathing was fast but shallow. He pulled out his old handheld scanner. It was basic, nothing fancy. The others watched with doubt. Mark listened to the heartbeat, checked the mouth, pressed gently on the belly. Then he asked a question no one else had. "What has the cub been fed?" The mother handed him a bottle of shiny liquid. Mark scanned it. His jaw tightened. "This is standard formula?" he asked. "Yes," the father said. "Approved by the council." Mark looked up. "Your cub isn't sick," he said slowly. "Your cub is starving." The room went silent. "That's impossible," an alien medic snapped. "All nutrients are present." "For adults," Mark replied. "Not newborns. Babies need different building blocks." He showed them the data. Weak bones, poor blood chemistry, organs failing from lack, not disease. "We need supplements," Mark said. "Now." The station director objected. The father didn't care. "This is our child," he said. "Do it." Mark rushed to the lab. Before we dive into the story, let us know where you are watching from in the comments, because I will be sharing something special tomorrow. The lab equipment was alien, but chemistry was chemistry. Mark worked fast, mixing trace minerals he'd used countless times back home. Calcium, magnesium, tiny things that meant life. Others watched from behind glass. Some curious, some betting he'd fail. He didn't look up. When a mixture was ready, alarms rang. "The cub is crashing," someone yelled. Mark ran. The cub barely moved. Mark inserted a feeding tube carefully. No mistakes. No shaking hands. He delivered the first dose. Then he waited. Minutes passed. Nothing. The father asked how long. "I don't know," Mark said honestly. The mother looked at him. "Why are you doing this?" Mark swallowed. "My daughter died when she was 6. Doctors said they tried everything. I promised I never would stop trying for someone else." Silence filled the room. Hours passed. Mark adjusted doses, diluted when needed, watched every breath. At hour 18, he saw it. Color. Barely there, but real. "It's brighter," the mother whispered. At hour 24, the cub opened its eyes. A small sound escaped its mouth. Weak. Alive. The room erupted. "It worked," someone said. The cub wasn't healed. Not yet. But it was living. 3 days later, more families arrived. More newborn cubs. Same symptoms. Everyone responded. Mark gathered the medics. "This isn't random," he said. "Your society changed diets. Adults adapted. Babies didn't." The numbers were clear. Survival rates had dropped for decades. "You standardized nutrition," Mark said. "But babies aren't small adults." Some resisted. Councils complained. Papers criticized them. Results shut them up. Within months, survival rates doubled. A new department formed. Mark was asked to lead it. He agreed, on one condition. "We study evolution," he said. "Not just machines." 1 year later, Mark stood beneath an alien sky. Dozens of young cubs played nearby. One ran up to him, strong and bright-eyed. "My parents named me Mark," the cub said proudly. Mark smiled. The galaxy had learned something simple. Never quit on a life that's still breathing. The change didn't happen quietly. Within days, messages flooded the station. Other medical hubs wanted answers. Families sent recordings of failing cubs. Some begged. Some demanded. Many had already been told it was hopeless. Mark didn't argue with anyone. He just worked. He trained alien medics side by side, showing them how to spot early signs of deficiency. How dull skin meant missing minerals. How weak cries meant energy loss. Things machines didn't flag because no one told them to look. "You trust scanners too much," Mark said during one late session. "They only find what you expect to see." One medic asked, "What if we're wrong again?" "Then we adjust," Mark replied. "That's medicine." The hardest part wasn't the science. It was pride. Some senior experts refused to admit they missed something so basic. They blamed genetics, blamed chance, blamed Mark's results as temporary. Then the numbers came in. Birth survival jumped from near zero to over 70% in weeks. No argument survived that. A council representative finally visited the nursery. She watched the cub take its first steps, wobbling but strong. "This shouldn't be possible," she said quietly. Mark answered without looking up. "Neither should losing babies because no one asked the right question." Policies changed fast after that. Emergency nutrition updates rolled out. Expecting mothers received supplements. Traditional foods were studied instead of ignored. For the first time in generations, parents stopped fearing birth. Late one night, Mark sat alone in the medical bay. The lights were low. The room was full of soft breathing instead of alarms. The cub he saved first slept peacefully nearby. Mark rested his hand on the table and closed his eyes. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired, relieved, quietly angry it took this long. But mostly, he felt something he hadn't felt since losing his daughter. Peace. Outside the window, alien stars drifted past. Somewhere out there, more lives would be saved because one person refused to accept nothing can be done. And Mark knew something else now. Advanced medicine wasn't about better machines. It was about caring enough to keep looking. As Mark stood to leave, the cub stirred and reached out with a tiny paw, gripping his finger. The touch was weak, but real. Mark smiled softly. Some lives aren't saved by genius or technology, only by refusing to walk away.